Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Wednesday Words, where I'll be sharing with you about common communication mistakes and how to overcome them. I'm Victoria Reynoldson, communication and culture coach, and I want to talk to you about these common mistakes, which I'm going to put in inverted commas, because I don't really believe they are mistakes. They're actually more myths, preconceptions, ideas that people have about what is to be a confident communicator. And there are lots of these preconceptions. People approach it and have this fixed idea about what does it mean to be this, well, how does that person sound? What do they look like? What do they do? What do they say? And I think we have these preconceptions, and because people look up to others, they see confident communicators, whether these are people that they're working with, whether these are people that they're following, maybe even sort of TED Talk speakers that they're looking at and thinking, why can't I do it just like this? Well, let me address this because I think this is incredibly important. I am a great believer in that there are no mistakes, in inverted commas, in communication. In fact, it is really normal to do these mistakes. And that's why I really wanted to share them and talk about the strategies you can use to overcome the misconception. So let's get into it, because I think this is important for your performance today and also for your future, for whether you're developing your career or your own business. You want to speak up, share your message, and really get your voice out there. So let's start with mistake number one. This is you get stuck in your own head and doubt your own abilities. This is a really common one. When we're feeling nervous, when we're not so confident in our communication style, it's easy to get stuck inside our heads and think about, oh gosh, this is what they're thinking about me. This is how they're judging me. Oh gosh, this is what they're taking out of what I'm saying. And it's a bit of a spiral. I talked about confidence spirals in a recent episode, and I'll put a link to that here now. But I think what's important is that we need to get out of our heads and get focused on the other people. So whether you're in a meeting or a presentation, no matter what the communication is, I want you to have a real think about the other people that you're going to be communicating with. So think about, what is it they want to know? What is it they need to know? And think about, what's the best way to connect with them? How are you going to land the key messages that you need to share? And actually, by really focusing on the other people rather than yourself, you'll find that that voice in your head, the doubts in your mind, start to lessen. And that's really, really important if you're going to make progress about this particular point. So that's the first one. Really focus on them, not yourself. And the other one is really having that self-belief, believing and knowing that you have something important to say, and it's really something that the others do want to hear. So they want you to kind of do well. They want you to communicate what you have to say. Okay, the point number two, the challenge, the mistake that people have is that you hear your own voice and you don't like it. This is a really common one. And some of my clients talk about it, that they start to hear their voice more and more, and they start to cringe, and they don't really find themselves almost getting very self-focused, and that kind of impedes or limits their communication performance. What I'd say about this is that you need to keep speaking no matter what. So even if you're hearing your voice and you don't like it, then just keep going. The main thing is, if you lose your way or you're kind of feeling like you're kind of not sure how to say it, just focus on saying it simply and getting to the next point. Don't worry too much about how you sound. It's quite difficult to judge your own voice. And if you want to get used to it, then record yourself, either in voice recording or video recording, and listen back to see how your voice is coming across. But the main thing is, it's not about your voice. It's really about the message you've got to share. And once again, getting it out there, making sure that you're heard. Mistake number 3, the fear of the long pause. Now, this is a common one. People get quite anxious if they suddenly stop, lose their way, forget what they want to say, and then it almost becomes a bit of a spiral again, where they kind of worry about how they're going to get going again. If you do lose your way or make a mistake and suddenly pause, and that pause goes on slightly longer than you imagined, the main thing is to smile, laugh at yourself, check your notes again, and then move on to the next point. You don't have to be kind of absolutely perfect in everything you do with your communication. And what I would say is this is much better to use the smile and the laugh to just lighten up the mood, lighten up the atmosphere, and keep the communication going. So there's no need to fear the pause. The pause can be your friend and actually can help you reorientate where you are in your message that you need to share. Mistake number 4, you speak too fast, so you want to get to the end. I think this is one that often happens, particularly when we're nervous. We tend to speak a little bit faster, and some of it is about getting to the end, but it's also because we're in a rush. We want to remember the key points and get the message out there. What I would say is if we speak too fast, then it's actually really hard for the other people to understand us and follow exactly what it is we want to say. So it is much better to try and slow down if we hear it, and to regularly pause to make sure we give that time and space for the others to digest the information and the key messages that we want to land. Mistake number 5, you believe you're the only person struggling with communication challenges. This is clearly not true. We are all human and we all have our struggles when it comes to communication confidence. Even the most confident communicators have their off days, and it is a journey. We go on a journey because we're always learning and improving. The more we practice the skill of communication, the more natural it becomes to us and the easier it becomes. And it really is something that everybody goes on in terms of the journey. And even the most confident communicators do have their struggles, have their off days, and also have started from a point where they were building up their communication confidence. So do remember this. It isn't just you. Everybody is human, and we all go through these experiences. So that if you are somebody who's kind of developing the communication confidence, then know that others will willing you to do well as well. And then the final mistake, number 6, you want to be perfect. If you kind of know me, you might know that perfect is a concept which is tricky for me, because actually I really do believe in communication agility. I do really believe that communication agility, which is about having the flexibility to express yourself in a number of different ways, even if you say it simply, is much, much better than trying to aim for perfection, where perfection in communication, although may sound and look good in the moment, can come at very high cost and isn't necessarily the best way to connect with others. We are much better to approach communication as normal conversations, whatever the situation is, whether it's a meeting or a presentation, where we potentially make mistakes, where we potentially pause too long, or we lose our way and we have to find a way back to what the key message is. This is much more admirable to aim for, rather than to aim for perfection. So there you go. I hope you understand the idea behind today. The driver behind today is to try and bust the myths behind some of these mistakes, these communication mistakes, and also help you understand that there are definite ways to reframe them, which will help you make progress on your own communication confidence journey and help you towards being the confident communicator that you want to be. I do hope that's been useful for you. If you have any questions about this, then please do get in touch. I always love to hear your feedback, your comments, what you have found particularly useful today. And of course, if you are following Wednesday Words, that's great. I'm sure you'll know that I release these particular episodes every single Wednesday. But if you aren't receiving them regularly or not seeing them regularly, then please do make sure that you sign up to the link here, where you can make sure that you receive it direct into your email inbox every single week. And you can receive these videos with communication strategies and skills. Thank you so much for joining me today for Wednesday Words. I'm Victoria Reynoldson, communication coach. See you next time.